mixing learning with loving.
Great. I missed you all.
Adding compassion to professional care.
Oh, ho, ho. Holy Christmas, what happened?
Nurturing young children and their young mothers.
There's so many things that they need help in.
These women are bringing the divine into everyday life.
I feel very much that God is part of the work that I do. And then I said, well, do you know my name? And he said, I know you're my wife, but I can't remember your name.
A personal tragedy tests Cheryl Kane. For Sister Andre, no regrets.
I thought about having a family because I love children, but this was the call.
Making small, everyday miracles. Nun stories, next on Chronicle.
You're watching Chronicle with Peter Mahegan, Mary Richardson, Chet Reinstein, and Mike Barnacle. Chronicle, New England's nightly news magazine.
When you have your things, you will form 2 columns and face the door. From now on, your place in line is determined by your age in this community.
50 years ago, Hollywood gave the world its first look inside convent life in the movie A Nun Story. For centuries, taking the veil meant severing contact with the world, often living a cloistered life of silence and prayer.
Oh, ho, ho. Holy Christmas, what happened?
More than 30 years after she entered the convent, Cheryl Kane could not be more gregariously involved with the world, ministering to the homeless who are sick or in pain, treating them where she finds them, in abandoned buildings, under bridges, on the streets of Boston.
I feel very much that God is part of the work that I do. And that's because I feel that every day being able to connect with God in each person.
Cheryl Kane's is not a typical nun story. She took the veil at 19. From her earliest years growing up in Milton, Cheryl wanted to help people, just like the nuns who taught her, the missionary Franciscan Sisters of the Immaculate Conception. But in her early 40s, Cheryl began to question her vocation.
I began thinking that I could possibly still live out the values that were very important to me and not do that in religious community.
Leaving the religious life was an agonizing decision. A co-worker and friend, Jesuit priest Father Jim Kane, listened and offered spiritual support.
I left the sisters, and Jim continued on as a Jesuit, and a couple of years later, I was starting nursing school at Boston College. I had gone back to nursing school specifically to work with the homeless.
Meanwhile, Father Jim Kane had quietly decided to leave the priesthood. 3 years later, their friendship blossomed. Jim and Cheryl were married and had 15 months of extraordinary happiness, until the day Cheryl got a phone call.
Jim went to work at Boston College. He worked in the admissions department at Boston College, and he went to work and called me and said he had a terrible headache, and then asked me the names of the women in his office. And then I said, well, do you know my name? And he said, I know you're my wife, but I can't remember your name.
It was a rapidly growing brain tumor that took Jim's life and destroyed Cheryl's spirit. The pain of the loss was excruciating.
I had no passion, nothing excited me. I just couldn't even imagine.
Ironically, Cheryl was saved by the least powerful among us, the homeless. She joined a team of over 200 medical outreach workers called Boston Healthcare for the Homeless, founded by Dr. Jim O'Connell.
Does that muscle hurt when I just did that, Dan?
The group exists solely to relieve suffering and help heal the homeless. Men like Kenny, who avoid the shelters and prefer sleeping outside, even on the most bitter cold night. That has already cost him one leg.
It's freezing cold. Freezing. I've been out here for 4 days. Kenny, you gotta go in.
They really helped me being able to work with them and care for them. Really helped me to not be worrying about myself and moping around the house, but it kind of gave me a purpose to get up and to get out and to reach out to other people. And I'll just always be grateful for that.
Cheryl has made a connection with Kenny, which he admits isn't easy.
They know how I was. I kept to myself and I talked to nobody.
And do you think we were able to?
Yeah, you broke through. I wouldn't be alive, probably today.
Kenny was born with spina bifida. His life has been a chain of hard luck.
I've lost. I had a home, I had a wife, child. Every homeless person out here has a different story.
Today, Cheryl and Dr. Jim will insist that Kenny does go inside. They will find this man a clean bed and treatment for his macerated limb, and they will make sure he gets there. At the McInnes House, a medical respite care hospital for the needy in Jamaica Plain, Kenny will get dedicated first-rate care and some relief from his pain.
I know, that's exactly what I was.
Then the team will return to the streets to clean up a wound, take a blood pressure, measure a fever, or just listen. The long and winding road that Cheryl Donahue Kane has taken has brought her here, exactly where she wants to be.
When someone just tells me, like, who they are and where they've come from, it's just amazing to me sometimes that they're as good as they are. And it just always continuously shows me the resilience of people. That's the stuff that gives me hope.